Everyone's favorite characters from the 100-Acre Wood return for an all-new animated adventure. Hello there everyone, I'm movie critic Nick Iacobucci for RealScreenReviews.com, and our next movie review is Disney's Winnie the Pooh. This very family-friendly feature opened in the United States on Friday, July 15, 2011, and it features the voice talents of Craig Ferguson, Jim Cummings, Tom Kenny, and John Cleese. Winnie the Pooh comes to us from the directing team of Stephen J. Anderson and Don Hall. These are two very long-time creators of animation at Disney Studios involved in everything from Brother Bear, The Emperor's New Groove, Tarzan, The Princess and the Frog, and many, many others. This time out, they combine their talents and try to reimagine and revisit one of Disney's and Hollywood's most adored and lovable characters. Well, people, this Winnie the Pooh adventure is inspired by 3 individual short stories, and each one is presented in glorious classic Disney hand-drawn animation. In my humble opinion, this would probably be a wonderful feature for very young children being introduced to the multiplex for the very first time. As I sat and watched this, I realized that this is still Winnie the Pooh, and he can still more than charm and delight children and audiences around the world. All of the classic characters of the 100-Acre Wood are also still as welcoming as ever, including Tigger, Owl, Piglet, and of course, Eeyore. They gather together and once again set out on an adventure never too complex for them or the youngsters in attendance, but they more than support this charming tale. Now, John Cleese was wonderful as the narrator, and the other players do what they can to bring well-rounded persons to the screen, but there is only so much that can be brought by the talent, and the directors do use a few of their own tricks to help the production as well. First of all, the film would have never worked had it been computer-generated and shot in 3D. Rio, Tangled, and Rango are all big studio films with even bigger stories to tell, and I couldn't commend the filmmakers more for both containing and refraining from making an over-the-top adventure. Throughout the entire presentation, they keep the project true to its roots and create a perfect illustration of the beloved original stories. Now, I personally have never been a Winnie the Pooh fan. I've never been a Dr. Seuss fan, and I've never been a big fan of Pooh Bear. As I said before, this Winnie the Pooh feature will delight youngsters, but this is definitely not for adults, teens, or even preteens. This is a modest film that is a bit better than average, and only parents or adults that will be raving about it will be diehards or the ones that are experiencing a throwback to their own childhood. This project is very reminiscent of the Pooh adventures from decades past, and almost all in the new version haven't changed a bit, and they're still as fun as ever. Now, this film comes in right around 75 minutes, and that was only because they added 2 other animated shorts to accompany the movie. The actual running time of the core feature is about 63 minutes, and in my opinion, it felt like a stretch to get it that far. If a feature film is this short, then why not just release it direct to DVD or to cable television? If I was a parent slapping down $20 to $30 to go to the movies and it was over in an hour, I'd be ticked off, or at least I would feel like I was a tad bit cheated. As I said before, this film will be a treat for younger audience members, and if I had to pick a word or two to describe it, then I would say that it was pleasantly charming. Though I wasn't doing backflips while I was watching this Winnie the Pooh adventure, it wasn't dreadful by any means of the word either. If I was judging for myself, I would give this 2.5 stars out of 4, but when you weigh it out honestly against who the film was actually made for, then I have no choice but to up the ante and give it a solid 3 stars out of 4. And remember, people, I'm not always right, but only when it comes to the movies. And thank you for your attention.